RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right, what the hell is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for hanging out. This is unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. Sorry I'm late again. I guess that's just the way it is. But if you're listening on Progressive Voices and it's Sunday, it doesn't matter. All right, so we have a very exciting show for this evening. We got a real guest coming on tonight. He's going to call in around 9:30. So I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be talking to John Perkins, the author of Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and he's had a very interesting life. So I look forward to that conversation, and I'm excited. You know, he's talked to many famous people, and now he has the joy of really one of the items on his bucket list is being on Tarabuster. So, all right. Well, I have to keep an eye on the clock, so I'm looking forward to speaking to John soon. Hopefully everything works. That's the other thing. It's a little nerve-wracking when I get an actual real guest on the show that I just make sure everything works, but I pray everything works. So, all right. But in the meantime, let's just get to work. But before I begin, I wanted to remind everybody, if you can, become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin, link in the description, all that stuff. And also, I wanted to thank some supporters. It's Charles. I'm very happy that Charlie is still with us. I didn't know what happened to Charlie. He all of a sudden he didn't respond. I thought, who the hell knows, you know? I always go to the worst case scenario, so I'm very happy that Charlie, he still hasn't responded, but he donated to Tarabuster, so I guess he must be still here or listening. So if you're listening, Charlie, thank you, and I don't know, hope you're all right, man. Really, that's what's most important. I'm glad that you're still in the fight, and I do, send you all my love. So do the Tarabuster community. So we stick together, we win. That's how we roll around here, and you're important. So please be good to yourself, all right? And also, I want to thank Jonathan Duff, JD, for your very generous donation. Thank you so much, JD. You certainly make things, you keep the show going and growing, but you make things interesting around here. Because JD is our friend from across the pond, the lucky bastard. So I'm very jealous. If my granny never left the old country, I would have a different accent. And health care, you know? So, all right. And Elizabeth, I want to thank you for your PayPal donation. And I know you do it. You're a regular contributor. So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for thinking of me, thinking of the Tarabuster community. And Dia Redmond too. I just want to say thank you, because one of the things these are some one-off PayPal supporters that I sometimes neglect to mention, because I'm always trying to push 1,000 buttons, keep the show going with bubble gum and a prayer. So thank you, guys. We're in this together, and let's roll. I know I can't just do plugs the whole time until John calls in. All right, so where do we begin? All right, what I want to talk about, I guess, before John gets here, is that Trump is a traitor, and they're really embracing the he's really, remember how well, let me get I can't get a full thought out, right? So before the other thought barrels over the first thought that was coming out of my mouth. So, but remember how Obama supposedly was palling around with terrorists? And I mean, everything is a confession or a projection. That is the truth. Because now that they are literally palling around with terrorists, with domestic terrorists. Obama wasn't, but the Republicans sure are. Trump sure is, and he's fully embracing the traitors, the January 6th traitors, and and the right wingers are they're in this coup. They're all in the coup together, and they're working to undermine even the very notion of an insurrection. And we've talked about it before on the show. This is really getting on my nerves. But, I wish it was just tediously annoying. But it's dangerous, too. Because this is who they are, And they're honestly, one of the consolations is that it's not going to age well in history's light. They're not going to come out looking good. We all see them for what they are and who they are. They are fascists. They are, they are the domestic enemies that the founders warned us about. That I and so many others wore a uniform, took the oath of this country to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that's what we're talking about. The people who they have nothing to offer, so they need to work on kicking people off the voting rolls. Of course, they have to go forward with their ongoing coup, but also manipulate the very notion of what an insurrection is. No, an insurrection isn't a peaceful protest. It never was, never will be. But what they're trying to do is minimize the entire, and also confuse in the minds of some in this country who are very easily manipulated, clearly, because they're still voting for these people. That's the other thing. How is this even a choice? And the last show. I had the last show we were discussing it, how really annoying the corporate media is when they're dealing with the right wingers, because the corporate media normalizes these people, and it's really not helping. Here's another example. Actually, I grabbed this clip because it got on my nerves. Let me see.
Manchester in just about 90 minutes from now.
This is the same guy that we were talking about. I think it is, right? When he was interviewing the people on Staten Island. That was another example of what we were talking about last week, how they normalize, hey, who are you going to vote for? Trump? Are you going to vote for Trump? Or you're a Republican? As if this is just another choice somebody might make and not an endorsement of a party literally in the midst of a coup. Right? I mean, am I losing my mind here? Because this is what they're doing. They are endorsing, or they're tacitly, obviously the people that say they're going to vote for the right wingers, they're, supporting a party in the midst of a coup. But then the corporate media is sort of like, saying that this is there's no judgment on that choice, interviewing them as if, hey man on the street, what do you think about, you're a registered Republican, who are you going to vote for? DeSantis? You like DeSantis? You like that fascist, or you like the one in the middle of the coup? I mean, they're all in somewhat of a coup. All of them are on board with anti-American, anti-democratic legislation and plots. Yes, but okay, who you like better, this coup plotter or that coup plotter? I don't know. And it's like it's not just a plot; it's an action plan. So they're in the midst of they're past the discussion phase of the coup. They're in the midst of the coup, and part of the coup, when all fascists take over a democratic government, they manipulate language, they gaslight the people, and frankly, so does the corporate media in this. And what we're witnessing right now is corporate media gaslighting viewers into thinking that voting Republican is rational. All right, let's play this. Let me.
This is his, of course, first campaign event. We should note, since he was arrested in New York, but also the first campaign event for him since Joe Biden announced his reelection effort. Of course, when you're looking at the primary here, there is a reality for every other potential Republican operation looking to take on Donald Trump, is that Donald Trump's political operation has done this twice before already. When you're looking at a smaller state like New Hampshire and just a Republican electorate and the need to turn out and solidify support, they have done it in the past and they intend to do it here again. Well, as the likes of Ron DeSantis, who is trying to build up an operation here, or other candidates like Nikki Haley, they're starting from scratch. And that is why, when you're looking at this sort of turnout here today...
Why are you legitimizing them? I don't know. Am I losing it here? This is what I'm seeing when I watch this. I'm like, they're legitimizing the coup. They're sort of like making it seem sort of innocuous. All right, and this is what I really wanted to get to. These ladies.
Claudia, when I asked them about their support for Donald Trump, take a listen.
Claudia.
Had you guys considered anybody besides Trump in the Republican race?
Nope. Trump's my man.
No, doesn't matter who's going to
Trump
run
100%.
against him. Does not matter who's going to run against him. Because he's already been there. He knows who the swamp creatures are. He knows who his enemies are. He did it once. He's going to go in there and he's going to do it again. They stopped him.
Yeah. What about, do you guys like DeSantis, like Nikki Haley or Tim Scott?
DeSantis, I think, is okay, but
he did a good job, but it's too soon for him to run for president.
Yeah, he hasn't got enough gumption in him.
And that will cut the Republican Party in half if he does.
Party.
Now, Chris, look at the polling here from the University of New Hampshire over the last 4 months. Ron DeSantis, he pondered a presidential run himself. He was looking at actually building a base of potential support. But what you have seen over the last 3 months, according to that polling, is a 32-point...
Enough. Who are these ladies? Yeah, no, he knows where the swamp creatures are. He knows who the enemies are. What enemies? Where the fuck do we live? What enemies are you talking about? The only enemy of the people are those who do things like call the press the enemy of the people. That's the enemy. The enemies are those who are kicking people off the voting rolls because they might vote Democratic. You know, like Cleta Mitchell, the one who said, young people, they sure got some nerve. They think they're going to just roll out of bed and vote. Yeah, he knows who his enemies are. What's wrong with you ladies? You Social Security recipients, no doubt. You have the freedom, thank you, Democrats, to stand on a line and cheer a filthy fascist because of the Socialist Security that liberals fought for and Republicans have spent every waking moment from the time FDR signed the Social Security Act trying to eliminate the freedom to have a dignified retirement, to have a dignified life. That's who these people, that's who Republicans are. They have nerve. They got nerve. The amnesia of these women. But we can't even fault them Because why is this guy sticking a microphone in their faces when he should be educating them, talking to them, or whatever? The airtime should be filled up, not with what are these two clearly malinformed, misinformed, and delusional women. Clearly, what they think about the coup plotter, the guy who's in the middle of a coup. Let's get these Social Security recipients who are suffering some form of Stockholm syndrome to give us an opinion on which coup plotting fascist they support in the election that the fascist is trying to steal. The election that the fascist undermined with the big lie and is gonna be indicted. I don't know when, but hopefully soon. I can't take it anymore. Hurry up, God damn it. This is what I'm talking about. It's time to not enable the American fascist movement in this country. I guess it's almost like a failure of our imagination to believe them. When people show you who they are, believe them. Do we believe them? They're trying to overthrow the American experiment. It's just too woke for them. That's the problem. Democracy is too woke, especially a constitutionally limited democratic republic of nation of laws. Supposedly it's not just laws for me, not for thee. Not just laws for the people who weren't born with trust funds. Supposedly, I realize that's a stretch, but that's what we're trying to live up to. That's the thing that the Republicans have a problem with. They don't like that laws also might apply to them sometimes, and that's when they cry foul. That's when they cry unfair. And, I got to play this. Where is it? I don't know if you saw. I mean, there's no getting around it. This is a fascist movement, and they are very dangerous because they manipulate truth. They concoct their own truth, like all fascist movements. They are they target minority groups. They divide people. They turn the American people. I mean, really, literally into warring camps. It's not just a political party that has a different idea of how to have to promote policies that work for everyone, make an economically vibrant, upwardly mobile middle class majority. Yeah, I know. That's not who these people are. They are the party that really they should change their slogan into "the beatings will continue until morale improves." And everyone who isn't them is a target. And I'm not sure if you saw the Trump's whatever his video, his where is it? His new ad, because they changed the slogan. Oh, the other thing which I didn't grab though, I wish I had, was Trump. He said he retired Crooked Hillary. He made a big announcement with all these to all the MAGA morons. He's like, I have a major announcement. This time it's not an NFT. It's I'm going to not call Hillary Crooked Hillary. I'm going to call Biden. He will now be Crooked Biden. I mean, are you kidding me? I came up with a nickname. This is their leader. This is who they think is a great leader? Because he came up with a sophomoric nickname for somebody? Well, anyway, so here's Trump's ad, and it's right out of the fascist playbook. It's "Make America Great Again for us." For us. Who's us?
It's an invasion of America. Streets flooded with poison. It's an invasion.
And the voiceover, the guy, he sounds like Trump's attorney now, the bully. You know, he said who has the voice of Lurch or something. You know, that Trump took him on as an attorney. Well, not just because. Well, one of the reasons is because there are pretty not too many attorneys that want to work with Trump, and he's certainly gone through them. You know, only the best people. He hires only the best, except when they all leave and hate his guts or they're clowns, and then he starts bashing them as unfit and losers and whatever, you know, stupid looking. But he likes this guy because he's got a very deep voice. There's no doubt. So this ad is almost on par with the guy's voice, and it's so manipulative and so typical of Republicans. It just screams misogyny. Really, it screams what I was saying, the beatings will continue until morale improves. And it's such a fascist ad and one of the characteristics of fascism is rampant sexism. Of course they have to have a guy with this voice that's about to, he was going to show you who's boss. He's a man, and when they talk about strength and powerful, very powerful things, I'm so, Putin's powerful, strong and powerful. He's powerful, very strong vocabulary of powerful words. And what they're really covering up is the fact that they're weak. They are weak as fuck. Weak, tiny, little, weak, cowardly traitors who lack the strength to function in a democracy. Because it takes strength to live in a diverse society. That takes strength. It takes strength of character to be able to evolve and live with people who maybe aren't like you. And that takes strength, that if you feel that you're triggered and afraid of somebody or of somebody's culture per se, to maybe learn about it, They don't see the beauty in diversity. They think diversity is it's a challenge to everything that they are, which is inadequate. That's the thing. They're afraid that we're going to all find out how inadequate they are, but they don't realize that we already know. But okay, here's the ad.
Of America. Streets flooded with poison, killing millions.
Really? Killing millions. Who killed millions? By the way, who killed millions? Trump. He managed to kill over 1 million Americans during the pandemic. We have the most appalling death rate here because of the right-wingers who vilified. They took a moment that it could have been unifying moment, right? We're in this together. We all got to work together. It's your patriotic duty to give a shit about your fellow Americans. That's what patriotism is. And if that means wearing a mask in a grocery store, you do it because, maybe you don't think you're going to get COVID. Who knows, right? But you might give it to somebody. You might carry it. Somebody might have a pre-existing condition. Somebody might be you might kill somebody. And that's why we have over 1 million dead here. And all of the Western world, we have the most appalling death rate here because of Trump and the Republicans. So when they talk about killing millions, They are talking about themselves. It's another confession. And I love the ad, the editing. Killing millions, jobs. What is this? Fentanyl seized. I love, and look at the graphic, right? Of course, it's very quick. It's hard to read, but you're supposed to be scared. Fentanyl seized. I don't understand what they think is so wrong with fentanyl being seized. So if the amount of fentanyl being seized is up, that's actually a good thing. So you're saying that fentanyl wasn't seized when Trump was in office because they let it through? And there's somebody getting CPR. No content. We don't know what the hell is going on. According to, I don't know where they think we all live. Where do they live? That's what I wonder. These people live in these flyover states, right? Nobody would go there. With no one in the world is dreaming of flying to Jim Jordan's district unless they have business there, unless they got to rescue or do an intervention on somebody from a meth lab. So, I don't know what they're talking about. Where do they live? Is that maybe that's it? Maybe they're talking about themselves. Really, their shithole states and the communities that Republicans represent have higher murder rates, have higher crime rates. So I guess that's what they're talking about, because I don't recognize my city, my state. I don't know.
Poison, killing millions. Enemies and tyrants on opposite sides of the globe laugh at us. Wars.
Of course, out of context. What are they laughing at? Who knows? Maybe one of them laid a fart. They're laughing at us. They are who? All right, let's just continue.
The threat of nuclear annihilation, once forgotten.
But Trump is revitalizing it. You realize he's this, for whatever reason, Trump is talking about nuclear weapons, and he's, as I guess, I don't know, who, somebody must have told him that we all have to be afraid of nuclear war now. Maybe he's sort of he's reminiscing about his childhood during the Cold War and duck and cover drills or something. And it's probably because, now we'll just be on guard, because that the MAGA morons will all be talking about that we're going to be murdered by nuclear weapons again, right? Because that's what they got to do. They got to fear, be afraid. And what will their response to be afraid of nuclear annihilation be? What do you think the remedy that Republicans will propose? I'll take this one. It'll be more nuclear weapons, of course. It won't be removing or it won't be disarming as we once tried to do all over the globe, right? To abolish nuclear weapons. It won't be calls to do that. It'll be, we need to make more nuclear weapons, right? Just like their answer to shootings, to massacred children, is more AR-15s in the hands of untrained and unqualified kooks. I can't take it.
Now real again. America's weakness has
and
become.
what is this? Who is? So is that Biden? He tripped up the stairs. I don't even recognize. Who is that? It could be Clinton. It could be. So somebody tripped. So on the going up the stairs. So that means what? I don't know. Is Trump? We can show video of him walking down the stairs. I mean, walking down a ramp like a little old man holding on to the arm of a big, strong army dude. looking like, I don't know, Mr. what was that from the Carol Burnett show? Mrs. Higgins and the other guy.
Become their strength. The global elitists who send your kids to war, who tell you a woman is a man and a man is a woman,
Dare
who
you.
teach your children.
Fuck you. Fucking, see? The 1% of the population who are trans are the Republican, it's the eternal Jew, you see. That's what they're doing. Just like there was the 1% of the population who were Jewish in Nazi Germany were the cause of everybody's problems. This is what we got now, with our fascist movement. They can't take the Jew. I mean, even though they use dog whistles and vilify the Jewish people and anti-Semitic, constantly pushing those buttons, right, and blowing those dog whistles. Hold on, we'll be right back. And so there's somebody moving a statue of Thomas Jefferson. God knows what it is, of course. And who are these? Oh, so somebody's blowing a kiss. And then there's, gay people are walking. That's terrifying. Yeah. People with rainbow flags.
Their beliefs are a lie.
Oh, and they're also wearing masks. We got to kill them, right?
Country,
We need to divide this country. That's it. These people, it's us against them. It's morons against, they're the morons, and against the normal people who are capable of functioning in a free democratic society. I don't see what's so terrifying. So, somebody's moving a statue. We have no idea what the context is.
Their country, their faith, their beliefs.
Oh, the faith, their beliefs. And then we, in juxtaposition with kids walking with rainbow flags or rainbow something. And that means that because their faith is very tiny, like they are. Their faith, they don't listen to the words of the Savior they pretend to worship. They have to focus on their only holy obligation, which is gay bashing or LGBTQ bashing now, right? That's it. That's their only imperative is gay their only holy obligation, their only sacrament is gay bashing in this faith of theirs. Because I guess that's easy for them, because they're greed-centered and they can't stand diversity and they lack the fundamental maturity to function in a free democratic society. So it's just easier to project their hatred onto a giant cloud being that they pretend to worship and say that that's their faith. I mean, they really do have a sick faith. If that's your religion, why is it okay if your religion is demanding that you hate a segment of the human race? That's not a religion. That's a sickness. Banning the Bible? Who's banning the Bible? Right? Of course, we know context. We don't know. It doesn't matter, though. But you see, truth has a liberal bias. So does the American experiment. And that's why, according to right-wingers, it has to be destroyed. All right, hold on. Here we go.
Their beliefs are a lie. They have corrupted every facet of American government.
They have.
Weaponized it against you.
Weaponized it, meaning that you weren't allowed to misgender those normal people on Twitter, let's say, until Elon Musk bought it and unleashed hate. As we know, that's one of the standards that Elon Musk did away with is now he unleashed bigotry and hatred against the targeted minority group du jour, trans people.
while they watch our cities burn and violent crime skyrocket.
What's going on there? Something's in Manhattan. Is that Manhattan? Okay. Yeah. Someone got arrested. There's a rally. And there's somebody with a gun.
Your families pay the price.
Your family.
Out of control.
You have a nice neighborhood. Your families pay the price. How are you paying the price? Except when Republicans are trying to cut your lifelines, trying to funnel more money into the arms of the rich. You're paying the price? Yeah, you're paying the price for the Trump tax scam, that's for sure. And now the Republicans are coming for everything else. You're paying the price because Trump raised taxes on the working class. Yeah.
Pay the price. Out of control inflation.
Out of control inflation, which of course is the inflation is down and continues to go down for the past 6 months, but okay. It doesn't matter. Reality is anathema to these people.
Wrecked.
Wrecked. The economy is wrecked, according to them, even though we have, the lowest unemployment rate since, I don't know, in my lifetime.
This is Joe Biden's America. Failing.
He's looking down.
Weak. But one man, one movement can change all that for us.
One movement.
Put America, the middle class, first.
The middle class first by putting it last. By making you able to say the N-word without some bitch getting in the way, making you feel bad about it.
And put the globalists, the elitist.
The globalists, all these trigger words, the elitist. Now, and there's a clip from the UN, which, ironically enough, when Trump was at the UN, I don't know if you guys remember how they all laughed at him. You know, just how the ad says, we're weak. Everyone's laughing at Joe Biden. No, honey, they laughed at you. You. Oh, shit, it's almost time.
In their place. Bring back pride and the American dream. To let the world know, don't mess with us. One man focused on the true owners of this great land.
The true owners. Can you believe that? The true owners. Everybody else is just an interloper, you see.
Movement focused on the true priorities.
What
Make
priorities?
America.
Making what? Attacking trans people, I guess. That's it.
Great for us again.
Wow. For us again. Making America great.
It's an invasion.
Well, let me see. What time is it here? It's an invasion. Well, John Perkins is supposed to be calling in any minute. But as I said, remember how, well, just in this ad, he's like, everybody is laughing at us. Well, here's Trump at the, where was he? Trump. Oh, here's Trump at the UN.
Today I stand before the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true.
So true. Yeah. They laughed at you.
Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Because you're a buffoon. They're gonna laugh at us. Never mind that they laughed at us. And let me ask you a question. Do you think that, he's talking about how everybody's laughing at us. Do you think that Putin laughs at him, at Trump? Of course they do. Putin, Kim Jong-un, all the world's dictators that he loves, that he looks up to and wants to emulate, they all laugh at him. They laugh at him more than, I mean, the other world leaders who also laughed at him. We remember when he was at the, where was it? I don't know. It was in All the World's G something or other. And where was it? The Canadian Prime Minister. They had them on tape, and they were all discussing. It was Macron, it was Trudeau, and I think the Danish Prime Minister, and they were standing around talking about how Trump had a 40-minute press conference and acted like a buffoon, and they were all laughing. They were like, he said, my jaw was on the floor because of you just can't believe, excuse me, the stupidity that comes out of a grown man's mouth. And then remember how Trump was very upset by that. He was, because he thinks that he has some kind of personal connection with the world's dictators and tyrants. And if you're not, if you have a friendship with them, of course they'll never stab you in the back. All right, hold on a second. Let me see. We have a very special guest tonight. As I was telling you, I just got to look at the time. Hold on, because let me pick John up. John Perkins, author of An Economic Hitman. I could see that we're gonna hit a break any second now. So I know John's on the phone, so I'm gonna get him. We're gonna wait for the break. Maybe I'm not timing it properly, but as soon as the music starts, hold on. Yeah, he is a loathsome creature. Terry, thank you on the chat. It's just, it's an embarrassment. So after this break, we're going to talk with economic hitman John Perkins. It's going to be good. Hold on. All right, we're back. Tarabuster, Unapologetic Liberal Talk on the phone. We're talking with John Perkins, the author of Confessions of an Economic Hitman. How you doing, John? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Tara?
Yes. All right. Very good. I always have to hold my breath to see if all the bells and whistles are working. But thank you so much for calling in, John. And I'm very impressed, and I was really looking forward to talking with you. I mean, you've been on TED Talks. You've been on Democracy Now. You've talked with dictators, presidents, prime ministers, and now I guess you have Tarabuster on your bucket list. So thank you. You've made it. You finally.
Yeah, I'm talking with you.
You finally made it.
That's the best. Yeah, right. Yeah. Although I got to say, just before the break, what I heard you saying was, we're going to be talking to John Perkins, and then the next thing I heard is you say, oh, yes, he is a despicable character.
No, not you. I was talking about Trump.
I
that's
didn't
so
assume
funny.
it was, but it sure sounded that way.
You're right.
You were getting some sort of chat or something.
You're right. It could have, if you weren't, it was taken out of context. That's so funny. No, it was somebody on the chat calling Trump a despicable. Yes, that's right. I just want to clear that up.
Who were you calling?
We were talking about.
Who were you
we
calling?
We were talking about Trump because we were just playing his.
Who's that?
God,
who's Trump?
I really do wish that was a legitimate question. Who's Trump, right? I mean, wouldn't that be a dream world?
Well, I think it is a legitimate question.
But I mean,
who is Trump?
Who is? I guess that's the question philosophers will be discussing for years, really, right? It's I wish that he was somebody that wasn't always on the top of everyone's mind. It's just a very disgusting. Yeah, he's a despicable person. We were just playing the ad for his whatever, Make America Great Again for Us. So that's what So, and one of our guys on the chat was saying he's despicable. Not you, John. So anyway, but I wanted to. That's great. No, thank you for pointing that out, because also I didn't want anyone who was listening to think that too, if that that it was taken out of context.
No, I don't think they did. I was just pulling you away.
Right. Well, so let me ask you. So thank you. This book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, is on the New York Times bestseller list. This is the 3rd edition. And can you explain, just for those who haven't seen you or read your books and know about your work, what is an economic hitman?
Sure, I'd be happy to, Sarah. But just before I do, I just want to point out that this third book, and it's really a trilogy, Economic Hitman. This one's about China's economic hitman, and what we have to do to stop the whole economic hitman strategy, which is destroying life on our planet as we know it. So anyway, the first edition, which came out around 2004, 2005. I talked about what I did as an economic hitman, and basically, I was chief economist, was my real title, at a big consulting firm out of Boston. My job was to identify countries that had resources our corporations wanted, like oil, and then arrange huge loans to that country from the World Bank or one of its sister organizations, what's known as the Washington Consensus. But the money never actually went to the country. Instead, it went to our own corporations to build big infrastructure projects in the country, things like power plants and industrial parks and highways and ports, things that benefited a few wealthy families, the ones who own the industries and the businesses that benefited from the infrastructure. But the majority of the people actually suffered because money was diverted from education, healthcare, and other social services to pay off the interest on the loans. And in the end, the principal usually couldn't be repaid. And so we'd go back and say, usually in the form of the International Monetary Fund, we'd go back and say, hey, since you can't pay your debt, sell your collateral, give your collateral real cheap to our corporations. And the collateral was oil or whatever resources we wanted. And give it to us give it to our corporations without many environmental or social regulations. And also let us build a military base on your soil. Privatize your utility companies, your water and sewage system, your electric utility, and sell them to our investors. And in this way, we really created an empire, the biggest empire in history, really. And it's not so much an American empire as a corporate empire that's supported by the U.S. government and all the institutions that go along with that.
It's really depressing. And it's like taking the red pill, really, and seeing the other side of seeing the truth of what's going on in the economic system in the world. It's unconscionable.
And it gets even worse, Tara, because my job was relatively easy because I could tell these heads of state and their ministers of finance and so forth, hey, you guys and your friends and family, you own the businesses, you own the industries, you're going to benefit from this. And besides that, we're going to make sure that you get some of the money on the side. We had all kinds of legal ways of bribing individuals. I can go into that if you want. But the leaders of these countries also knew that if they didn't play our game, then people we call the jackals would step in. And these are usually CIA assets who overthrow governments or assassinate leaders. And, we have a long history of that. Allende in Chile, Mossadegh in Iran, Arbenz in Guatemala, Mossadegh Lumumba in the Congo, Diem in Vietnam, most recently Honduras is President Zelaya. We have this history of doing that. And so these, basically you're offering the carrot to these leaders, lots of money, and you're offering the stick. Well, if you don't play the game, then there's a guy with a gun standing behind me.
Wow. And that's what's so depressing, because the United States has such this footprint around the world, and we're not out there exporting mom and apple pie. We're really overthrowing democratically elected governments. Am I right? It's with this.
Well, we like to say that we're in favor of democracy, but we'll support any dictatorship that works with us, like Saudi Arabia had for many years, and Egypt, and many of the Latin American countries when they had dictators, and we'll also overthrow democratically elected governments if they try to nationalize American businesses or don't offer up their collateral or don't play the game by our rules. You know, we talk about a rule-based system, a rule-based world, but it's our rules. We make the rules.
Mm-hmm. So how do you see this system playing out now in the current economic climate? Do you see it happening still? Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, and this is what I'd call the third wave. So the second wave, which is my second book in the trilogy, talked about how then every major corporation got its own equivalent of economic hitman. Got people that were out there just promoting that particular corporation, whether it was Nike or Walmart or Exxon or all the big major international corporations. And then now comes the third wave, and that is China. And China's, in the last 10 years, China's economic hitmen have learned from all of our mistakes and our successes, and they are beating us around the world at our own game. They're much more effective because they have some very good marketing material, and they've gained a lot of credibility and popularity in Africa and Latin America and many other places.
That's what they really are eating our lunch in that way, right? That's sort of what your book is about now, the third edition, about the China's what is EHM strategy? Economic hitman strategy, and what are the ways to stop this? Do you? Because I know this is part of your book. Ways to stop the global takeover. How do we do this? It seems.
Yeah, that's the second subtitle is ways to stop the global takeover, and that's not meant to imply just the global takeover of China. It's the global takeover of an economic hitman strategy. And that is a strategy that's really produced what we can call a death economy, an economic system that's consuming and polluting itself into death, into extinction. It's depleting all the resources in the short run that it needs in the long run. And this whole strategy of it is based on both systems, whether it's China or the United States, where it's based on maximizing short-term materialistic gains, short-term profits for corporations, short-term materialism, and global domination, and accumulating as many resources as possible in the short run. And what we need to understand now is that it's failing us. I don't think anybody would question that. The death economy.
Yes, hold on a second, John. Sorry to interrupt. It's just we got the music. Yes, so because you were talking about the death economy, and yes, so because in the book you describe how you helped orchestrate the downfall of governments that resisted the American economic interests. So is this, what do you mean? Is this what you mean about the death economy as far as
Well, the death economy is being practiced pretty much all over the world. Again, it's based on the goal of maximizing short-term profits, which is something that's taught in business schools everywhere, whether it's in China or United States or wherever. But we're realizing now that it is the cause of most of the other crises we face. So climate change, income inequality, species extinction, environmental destruction, those are problems, but they're not the problem. The problem is this overriding system that economists are calling a death economy that's causing all these things. In the short run, we're just, we're depleting the resources we need for the long run. And we're also creating tremendous amounts of pollution, as we all know. The alternative is a life economy, and that's an economic system that pays people to clean up pollution, such as mining all the plastic that's floating around in the ocean, and recycling it. rejuvenating destroyed environments like oceans, coral reefs in the oceans, or forests around the world. It pays people to do these things and to recycle and to develop new products, processes, and technologies that enhance life rather than ravaging the earth. And so we're not talking about stopping growth. We're just talking about changing growth so that we're growing in areas that help starving people feed themselves and that take care of this planet that we've been in the process of destroying. And, we've been moving in that direction, Tara. Wind and solar energy are big movements in that direction. Electric cars are a step in that direction. Businesses like B corporations, benefit corporations, conscious capitalism, these are all things that are moving us in that direction. So there's a lot of reason for hope. We know how to do it. We just have to set our minds to it and realize that this perception of a goal of maximizing short-term profits has to change. So a life economy is based on a goal of maximizing long-term benefits for all life.
Do you really think that that's possible? How would we accomplish that? I mean, there just seems to be so much greed, and that seems to be, the primary purpose. Greed is the only value that that those in leadership, it seems, really care about or focus on. The greed of a few.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not a human trait. I spent a lot of time living and working with indigenous places, indigenous people in places like the Amazon, and they're not about greed. They're about community. Right. And in fact, one of the reasons China is doing so well today is it really emphasizes community. So rather than looking at how much can the individual do, the Chinese philosophy, the Confucian philosophy, really focuses on family, and that can be translated to the nation, even to the world. So China has been out selling this idea of what they call an ecological civilization, the new Silk Road that connects all countries around the world in a way that they claim will create an ecological civilization. One of the things the Chinese frequently point out is that they've lived with terrible pollution. Young Chinese have grown up with awful pollution. They're determined to stop that for their children and grandchildren. But so they've been extremely successful at basically taking over the world, and now they're the main trading partner with 124 countries versus our 56 countries. So between between twice and three times as much as us, and it's growing every day. There was just announcements yesterday about Argentina signing up with them, Brazil just signed up with them, Bolivia, incredible deals that they're brokering, moving away from the United States. But I think the most important point here is to recognize that these two countries create almost 50% of the world's economy and almost 50% of the world's pollution, China and the United States. And they're in a race. It's a competition, and it's really to dominate the world. And it's really a race to disaster. And, I think what we need to get out of all this is that there are no winners on a dead planet. So this race has to stop. And, as I mentioned before, there's every reason to believe that we can create this whole new economy because we're in the process of doing it. If you think, if people get discouraged, but if you think 10 years ago, solar and wind weren't economically viable the way they are today. That's changed. True. Electric cars, the whole electrification technology has changed radically. We've made tremendous progress in many directions. We've also continued to pollute, but every country has made pledges that they're going to cut back on these things. And people can say, well, that's not happening quickly enough. But 30 years is kind of a blink in history. I agree. I wish it were happening faster.
Right.
I'm not going to say it's not happening fast enough because I think it's the best that we could do at this point in time, and we've got to do it.
Right. John, I really want to thank you for calling in, and I encourage everybody to, get your book and, start. I don't know. I mean, I really just wonder what how you do have solutions in your book, but what do you think people can do to to help bring this life economy to fruition?
Well, yes, the book has a lot of specific examples, but I want to I'll make one offering here, which may be the most important. I mean, a lot of us already know about things that we should do as far as the way we shop and so on and so forth. There's details in the book. But I think what's really important is that each individual, that we all recognize that we are victims and we're also collaborators. Mm-hmm. This system works because we buy into it.
Right.
And we can buy out of it. And so I would suggest to everybody that they ask themselves 5 questions. And again, there's more detail in the book. But here are the questions, and I'll give you some examples of answers. Question number 1, what do I most want to do for the rest of my life? What will bring me the greatest satisfaction? And I would answer that question by saying, I want to write. Mm-hmm. I love to write. I want to write. But I have a friend who's kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum. He's a carpenter. He says, I want to work with my hands in wood. Mm. Question number 2, how do I do this in a way that will facilitate the transition from a death economy to a life economy? And I would say that I'm going to write about these things. I'm going to try to inspire people to become part of this. My carpenter friend would say, I'm only going to use sustainable materials, sustainable woods. The third question is, what's stopping you? What's holding you back from doing this, what you most want to do in a way that will make the world a better place? Mm-hmm. And as a writer, I might say, well, I know that to be a successful writer, I've got to write just about every day, and I don't have time. And my carpenter friend might say, well, my clients don't want to pay the extra price for sustainable materials. And then the fourth question is, when you really confront that blockage, that thing that's getting in your way from moving forward, when you don't run from it, when you really look at it, how can it change your perception? And so for me as a writer, I'd say, well, wait a minute, I can turn off the television for an hour or 2 every night and write. And that would give me another 7 to 14 hours a week. That's a lot of writing, actually. And my carpenter friend would say, well, I'm going to tell my clients that the extra price is not a cost, it's an investment in the future for them and their children. Right. And then the 5th question is, what actions do you take every day? And each day that's going to change somewhat, but I've got to write, and each day I've got to get up and figure out what I'm going to write, move through any blockages that come from that. My carpenter friend has to start really, building things with sustainable materials and telling his clients and their children that they're investing in the future.
Right. Thank you, John, really. And you've had a very fascinating life, so I really appreciate everything and appreciate you calling in and talking about this. And I hope we could,
Thank you, Tara.
get together again soon. I hope that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Keep spreading the word.
I will.
Thanks for having me on your
All
show.
righty. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty, everybody. So this is from the library, the National Library of Medicine. Low effort thought promotes political conservatism. And this was a paper, I guess, and the abstract says the authors test the hypothesis that low effort thought promotes political conservatism. In study number 1, alcohol intoxication was measured among bar patrons. As blood alcohol level increased, so did political conservatism. And in parentheses, controlling for sex, education, and political identification. In study 2, participants under cognitive load reported more conservative attitudes than their no-load counterparts. In study 3, time pressure increased participants' endorsement of conservative terms. So, time pressure? Let me see. What is time pressure? Is that the amount of time or something? In study 4, participants considering political terms in a cursory manner endorsed conservative terms more than those asked to conjugate an indicator of effortful thought. Well, that's a little, whatever, confusing. Partially mediated the relationship between processing effort and conservatism. Together, these data suggest that political conservatism may be a process consequence of low effort thought. Well, I could tell you that it is. When effortful, deliberate thought is disengaged, endorsement of conservative ideology increases. Okay? Which means that, you're just a dumbass. You're just like, yeah, I think, black people are on welfare. Pull yourself. I never needed any help. Even though, as we know by percentage, there were more white people on public assistance as a percentage of the population. Or anyway, that's just not the only thing. Let's see. Conservatism is low IQ. Let's look that up. Low IQ. You don't even know what a fascist is. Oh, I know more. I have forgotten more about fascism than you will ever know. Because you're one. You are one. So, that's the other thing. Yeah, what's a fascist? I'm not a fan, because they don't want to admit it. Well, maybe they do. Some do. Some are embracing their fascist identity. Let's see, Well, one of the characteristics is, here we go. The 14 defining characteristics of fascism, as we know. Powerful and continuing nationalism. Anybody ever see Perjury, Traitor, Green, Trump? And you know what? A lot of people say that nationalism is not a good word. Well, because he doesn't know where it comes from and what it actually means or what it is, or doesn't care, A lot of people. That's what Perjury, Traitor, Green said, too. Nationalist. She's like, yeah, I'm a Christian nationalist, just like the Nazis. Perjury, right? They wore those belt buckles, gub'mnt.
Christian. How many Christians do we have here? So you see, I also call myself a Christian nationalist, and that's not a bad word. That's actually a good thing, right? And there's nothing wrong with leading with your
moron.
faith, because we should lead with our faith. Because if we're doing that, then we're doing the right thing. Doesn't mean we're perfect. It just means we're doing the right thing.
No, bitch. It means you're a filthy, incurious Nazi. And you can't help it. You just can't help it. Fascist regimes make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, flags. Where have I seen that? Nowadays. All those stupid Trumpanzee flags. Those flags, that's the other thing with the stupid flags, their shirts, their everything patriotic. Like the traitor that Trump just gave a big kiss to and hugged. Oh, it's so bad, so terrible how traitors are being treated nowadays, Trump said. So bad, such a disgrace, like nobody's ever seen. Let's see, disregard for human rights. That's one of the characteristics of fascism. Human rights can be ignored because of the fear of enemies and the need for security. Well, disregard for the human. What about trans people's human rights? What about women's rights? Women's human rights? Well, abortion. What about the unborn rights? Well, if that's the case, you love the unborn, then what are you doing voting Republican? Because the abortion rate goes down under Democratic policies. But it's okay. That's because it doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter. And it's about control. And, of course, the more babies that women are forced to have, the more they might stop thinking of themselves as autonomous and capable of, full actualized autonomy. They'll know their place, right? So as a result, people tend to look the other way, approve of torture, approve of long incarcerations of prisoners, except Trump or any of the criminals in the right wing. Then they're victims, right? Like Trump. I wish that when he was arrested, they took Trump's advice, right? Don't be so nice. When you put somebody in the car, bang their head a little, all right? Just bang their head. Approve of executions and assassinations. That's another. And we just heard. What about hang Mike Pence? I just heard this, the traitor that Trump was all up and, the one who he was just saying, he was just palling around with this traitor bitch. With the stupid whatever she was wearing, because they all have to wear a costume. She's an idiot. And what is her name? Now that I don't know. Oh, her name is Larson Olson. She's a traitor. Here she is. She's a J6er. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's very loud and you can really not hear it. I'll just scrub through it. So it says, you guys are going to be okay. He's talking about the traitors, the ones who were at the Capitol beating police with flagpoles that were sharpened into spear points and bear spray, hitting them with bear spray, cattle prods, beating them with their own clubs, trying to grab their guns. Can I get a picture with you? Her name is Mickey Larson Olson. She's a traitor. Get over here. Let me grab you by the pussy. Well, I made that. Look at her stupid outfit. And the thumbs up. What is with the thumbs up? Is that in the 14 characteristics of fascism? I wouldn't be surprised. The continually, sickeningly stupid looking thumbs up. Okay, identification. Here's another characteristic. An identification of enemies as a unifying cause. Hello, trans people. Anybody? That's their minority, their targeted minority group du jour. And then there's other enemies, of course, but racial, ethnic, or religious minorities, liberals, communists, socialists, terrorists, whatever they say. Terrorists is the overarching umbrella. Supremacy of the military, except when the military is operating for democracy, right? Because Republicans, they supposedly support the police, but they hate the police. When the police are standing up for freedom and democracy and not going along with the coup, protecting the government that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us, protecting that government from the fascist coup, then they hate the cops. They see Republicans don't support the police, they support the police state. Always remember that. So military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding. Soldiers and the military and military service are glamorized. Well, that is Republicanism in a nutshell. Thank you for your service. Why don't we say thank you for your service to teachers, right? Or nurses, or doctors, Just the police, the cops, the soldiers. Ridiculous. Well, it goes to show you. Widespread sexism. That's another characteristic of fascism. The government tends to be almost exclusively male-dominated, and that's the Trump administration. They had some tokens they threw in there, of course, because they knew they're using the trappings of liberal democracy to destroy it from the inside. It's all about identity. They need, that's why Uncle Clarence Thomas, they needed somebody with darker pigment to replace the first African American Supreme Court justice. They say Amy Coney, resting bitch face, handmaid Barrett. Same thing. Oh, what did Trump say? I'm saving her for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm saving her for when our Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies. That's what he said, the dirtbag. But look at them. Stupid, fucking stupid hat. Stupid red, white, and blue. Everything red, white, and blue. You know why? Because they're not patriotic. That's why they gotta shove patriotism in your face with all of these stupid costumes. The costume of patriotism, because the substance of patriotism, they hate. They hate patriotism. What is patriotism? It's wearing a mask. If you're gonna save your fellow Americans from needlessly dying. Put on a stupid piece of cloth on your face. That's patriotism. Or not leaving anybody behind. How about freedom? Freedom. The freedom of autonomy, of not having a stupid Republican in your doctor's office with you. That you and your doctor can make your choices and do the right thing for your health without a filthy Republican standing in the way. Right? Do the right. What did Dr. Oz say? Right. A choice should be between a woman, her doctor, and how did he put it? Dr. Oz. I wonder, just an aside while I'm looking this up, Dr. Oz. Where's Dr. Oz? Has he been in Pennsylvania lately? I wonder. You remember how he was running for Senate in Pennsylvania? Same thing with Herschel Walker. Has he been in Georgia? He was all over Georgia. Even though he didn't live there, right? Same thing with Where's Dr. Oz? He's not hanging out on Main Street, Pennsylvania. Of course not. These fucking grifters, suckers. Let's see, Dr. Oz. Choice should be between a woman and local officials. Is that how he put it? Her doctor. Wait, abortion should be between women, yes, and local politicians. Oh my God. That's fascism. Unbelievable. All right, what else? Widespread sexism, yes. Government tends to be almost exclusively male-dominated. Traditional gender roles are made more rigid, right? It's even in Trump's fascist ad saying how they're telling you, the enemies are telling you that there are all the more than one or two genders. Who cares? They're telling you this because, you got to attack a minority group that's less than 1% of the population. Because that's such a threat to you. It's such a threat to the dumbasses flying the flags. Like, they don't know. Shut up. Just shut your mouths and mind your own business. Ever try that? Right-wingers? Ever try that, fascists? Mind your own business. And you don't like this democracy. You can't stand it because it's diverse, and there are people that aren't just like you. Well, get the fuck out then. You don't have the right to overthrow this government that so many fought, bled, and died to create and entrust to us. How dare you? Really, how dare you? Go move to Russia. That's the kind of country you want. An oligarchy with an authoritarian dictator daddy at the top, making sure everybody's in their place. You know, no gays are suppressed. Trans people suppressed. It's all about the children. They tell you what you can do, what you can read. Go there. Why don't you go there? Go to Russia. You love it so much. It's so strong and powerful. Oh, yeah. Traditional gender roles are made more rigid. Divorce, abortion, and homosexuality are suppressed. And I'll add trans. Trans people are suppressed. If that's not fascism, what is? Controlled mass media. Hello, Fox News. The media is directly or indirectly controlled by government. And if that isn't Fox News, what is? The Republicans, they were very upset that their fascist mouthpiece, Tucker, a disgusting, vile waste of human DNA, was let go by the pustule Rupert Murdoch. They're saying, because Rupert Murdoch is woke. That's what they're saying. It's just took over by the woke. Well, no, it's because, Perjury Trader Green said Tucker did nothing wrong. Nobody does anything wrong. Roger Stone did nothing wrong. The General Flynn did nothing wrong. Nobody does anything wrong except being a bunch of traitors. Nobody did anything wrong. Everybody's like Trump said, he's the most innocent person ever. A very innocent con man with a fake university and a vitamin scam and history of sexual assault. Very innocent. Wants to likes grabbing people by the pussy because when you're a star, they let you do it. A very innocent person, inflating the value of his property for loan purposes and then deflating it for tax purposes. Very innocent. Biggest loser, biggest single loser, American taxpayer. Very, very innocent person. Under oath saying, as far as the media is concerned, talking about just lying. Tucker Carlson saying, we can't have somebody fact checks him because there was apparently a Fox News producer or somebody there who worked in the standards and practices who said that I guess thought that her job was for real and fact checked Tucker, and then Tucker went ballistic, sending out emails and texts that this has got to stop. Fact checking. This has got to stop. Our stock price is falling because, the Swanson fortune, all that blood money from all the dead chickens. I grieve for all those chickens, frankly, because every single chicken murdered by the Swanson family for Tucker's trust fund had more value, gave more to humanity than Tucker's entire lineage could ever muster in all of their ancestry. That's for sure. Those poor chickens. died so Tucker can sit on top of the ivory tower and shit down into the mouths of the gaping empty minds with their mouths open like baby birds, saying, "Please, Tucker, give me more of your bullshit." And it says it right in under oath. When they're under oath, they're like, "Yeah, we lied. It was about green," and as if we were supposed to get it. That's what Rupert Murdoch said under oath. It wasn't about red or blue. It's about green. Oh, well, I get it. That's okay then. It's about green. You're 92 years old, so yeah. Oh, well. So, yeah, controlled mass media, like the Nazis. They burn the books. What do Republicans do? What are they doing? Oh, you don't even know what fascism is. Books. Well, let's see. Republicans banning books. They're banning books all over the country because they love, guess what, guys? Because they love freedom. That's why they're banning books. And don't you know that it's so fascist, not just to ban books, but to ascribe all of your fascist behaviors to your love of freedom, and you're doing all you can to protect the children. The children that, what? Whose parents are living in a fascist society then? Who will grow up in this society as ignorant and indoctrinated? That's the other thing with DeSantis. He's all like, we want... Well, that's not a good impression of him because I don't know. I don't get DeSantis at all. The whole... love of him, the dead eyes, the hung dog, like his jaw is the only thing that moves, the deadness the deadness of the soul in the right wing is evident. All right, well, I don't know. This is the end of the Progressive Voices part of the show, maybe. I don't know. The way it is, the whole show's off the rails tonight. But we will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin. Please become a patron so we can get some audio that works. Have interviews that don't suck. We will win. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you soon. All right, I'm so pissed at everything right now. Why? That's why I'm so afraid to even have guests. All right, here's another one. Religion and government are intertwined. Hello? Let's see. How about Trump standing in front of a church after tear gassing protesters, holding a Bible upside down? No. Because he loves the Bible. He 2 Corinthians walk into a bar. That's his favorite. Yeah, and they asked him, what is your favorite quote from the Bible? What gives you inspiration? Oh, I don't know. It's very personal. I couldn't even begin to discuss it. It's so personal. Is it the one where, I don't know, Noah's daughters get him drunk and have sex with him? Is that why it's so personal? Because we know that you want to have sex with your daughter. Is that the one? It's very, very personal to me. Well, but just try. What quotes do you think about when you want inspiration? Please. It's unreal. Let's see. Here's Lauren Boebert.
We're here to tell government, we don't want your benefits. We don't want your welfare.
Yeah.
Don't come knocking on my door with your Fauci outie. You leave us the hell alone.
Oh my God. That was the wrong quote, but. With your Fauci. Oh, why is she such. She is like a rake on a chalkboard. That's the tone of her voice. Why are you so angry? And then the other thing is that, they are sucking on the government teat. Like rapacious parasites. We don't want any of your benefits. Bullshit. You're the biggest takers going. Right-wingers. And that's the other thing. They're babies. They think that, here's the thing. She's like, we don't want your benefits. We don't want you. Get your government. Well, who built the road to your house? Did you build that road? What about, did you lay the pipes that bring the water to your home? And do you inspect the water before you drink it? Did you have to go dig a well? Or, and then boil the water to get out all the parasites? Or does that water come from the infrastructure that was built for you? It's like these are adolescents. They're like, well, not even. I'm trying to think. Babies, adolescents. They're like, they think that they're living in, that the infrastructure that surrounds them magically appeared, and they take it for granted. Oh, we don't want your government. Well, that's your government in action, asshole. Does your house, are you afraid it's going to fall down on top of your head? Or was it built to a certain standard? So because that's government. That said, well, if you're going to build a house, you got to make sure that it's built to a specification that it doesn't fall down on people's heads when they're sleeping or going about their lives. Because in other countries, that shit doesn't happen. You go to other countries where they don't have regulation, and there are no names on streets and shit like that. And shit is just built on top of each other. There's no standards. There's no regulation. There's nothing. It's just, if you could shove something in there, you do it. Well, I guess that's the Lauren Boebert. That's what Lauren Boebert said. But anyway, it's, that's why these right-wingers are like infants. We don't want your government. Oh, my God. Go away. Then go away. If you don't want it, no, you don't have to be a part of it. Go into the woods like the Unabomber, right? Build your cabin in the woods. Get your own water. Inspect your own food. When you go to the supermarket and you buy things and you eat it, you're not going to be filled up with parasites. That's why in other countries, we've talked about it before, there was a North Korean defector who was shot, and then they were able to rescue him. And during the surgery where they were saving his life, they were pulling out all kinds of tapeworms. Because there's none of this government getting in the way. That's what you would expect. In fact, when anthropologists and whatnot go and archaeologists and historians, when they study history and they study things like people's diets in history and whatnot, you could rest assured that everyone in a certain period for thousands of years had parasites, were walking around with tapeworms and parasites. So go into the woods, build your cabin, then make your own internet. That's what you could do. You don't have to be a part of our civilization if you don't like it that much. You don't want it. You don't want big government interfering with your freedom. Then get the fuck out. Really. But you don't get to say that others can't have their own freedom. Those who want to live in a society, those who want to play in the reindeer games, who just want to live and be left alone by your stupid sky spook, by the laws you think your sky spook is telling you. Well, here's Lauren Boebert.
God bless them. Thank you for them. But it's time the church speaks up. The church has relinquished too much authority to government. We should not be taking orders by the government, from the government. The government needs to be looking at the church and saying, how do we do this effectively?
Oh, my God. Shut her loud mouth. Oh, my. Will somebody. Oh, my God.
The reason we had so many overreaching regulations in our nation is because the church complied. The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk. It's not in the Constitution. It was in a stinking letter, and it means nothing like what they say it does.
You're so dumb. That's why there is a hashtag that says hashtag Lauren Boebert is so dumb. It's not in the... Where did she get this from? First of all, she is a failed high school dropout, unfit to run an OnlyFans page, much less be a goddamn congressperson. What is this? I'm tired of all this separation of church and state junk. It wasn't in the Constitution. Yes, it is, asshole. There shall be no religious test for office, bitch. That's what it is. It's not. It's in a stinking letter. Where did she hear that from? She must have heard it from, because they have all these alternate histories. Like on, well, Tucker Carlson was one of them, but there's some, I can't remember the guy's name. He's supposedly he's one of the right wingers' favorite fake historians, and they all follow him. I can't remember his name, but he just pulls shit out of his ass. I mean, literally and figuratively, I suppose, but. And they all suddenly think they know what they're talking about, what they don't. They're full of shit because they hate America. You understand? The United States was created as the antidote to intergenerational aristocracy. That's it. There is nothing more progressive than overthrowing a king and an aristocracy. But I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk. Yeah.
The reason we had...
Oh, my God. I can't handle her. And here's one other thing. I hate her. Legally and peacefully. For example, you would be not in the least bit surprised to learn that Lauren Boebert is taking credit for a community health center in her community. And in fact, she even released a press statement or put out a press release about it. But guess what? I know, you're well ahead of me. She voted against it. She voted against the funding for it. But for all the Republicans, it's like a cliche that they vote against the very things that they take credit for. This is who they are. Colorado rep, think about that. Colorado rep Lauren Boebert. Shame on you in Colorado. Honestly, the 500, we had the Tennessee 3. We should have the Colorado 500. Shame on them. They should live in infamy. Ignominy. Is that a word? Did I say that properly? Colorado GOP rep. I can't talk. Let me start again. Colorado GOP Representative Lauren Boebert issued a press release expressing her approval of a $5.1 million grant for the Pueblo, that's a hard one for me. I don't know. Community Center. Pueblo, I really can't say that word. It sucks. Pueblo Community Health Center. But she voted against the bill funding it, along with almost every other congressional Republican. What else is new? Speaking to the chieftain, Boebert said the final bill was over 1,000 pages. Well, you know how they're always like, this is just so many pages. And that's supposedly bad. More pages, more bad. And included amendments that were not germane. She's really learning some words, being a congresswoman. Germane. There was a lot of things in those pieces of legislation that couldn't bring myself to vote for. Well, why don't you then shut your filthy fascist mouth and not put out a press release patting yourself on the back for something you voted against? One of them had a $2 million earmark for the Presidio Park in San Francisco. There was a salmon recovery, and there was a butterfly recovery. Just all of this nonsense stuff. Well, what do you know about nonsense? Well, I think a salmon recovery, it might be actually good. And a butterfly recovery, given that the butterfly population is in decline. You stupid bitch. Don't you know about the balance of nature? Of course you don't, because you dropped out of high school. And you failed the GED 3 times. And they probably passed you on the 4th time because they were sick of looking at your stupid face. And your angry, stupid face, legally and peacefully. They were probably listening to your voice like a rake on a chalkboard, and they were like, get her out of here. What harm could she do? She's going to end up on OnlyFans. That's what they thought. Just give her a stupid GED. And then there she goes. Well, actually, she took the GED right before she was sworn in. because otherwise she would have been the, I think, only high school dropout. Or maybe not. Probably there were others in the Republican Party. Look at George Santos. Does he even have a high school diploma? We don't know. Just all of this nonsense stuff, and we have to get our country back on track by kicking it in the balls and hurting everybody as much as possible, except for the ones at the top. It was just a lot of wasteful spending. From the Pueblo chieftain, when Boebert had supported allocations through the appropriations process during her first term in Congress, she opposed taking applications for congressionally directed spending, previously known as earmarks. Boebert announced this change in March, saying that her office would accept applications but did not guarantee they would be approved. Somebody get her out of that office, please. As fast and as legally and peacefully as possible. She said she has submitted some projects for approval, especially some that emphasize water and what she calls actual infrastructure, which to Republicans, because they are like babies and they lack education, imagination, everything is black or white to them. They think infrastructure is just highways and roads and anything that is, well, a road. It's just a road. They don't realize that infrastructure is also the infrastructure of education, freedom, democracy. The internet is infrastructure now. Just like electricity. At one time, that was a newfangled thing. So, and if not for the Tennessee Valley Authority, if not for FDR, Lauren Boebert and her pals would still be sitting in the dark. Literally as well as figuratively. But yeah, if they had the capacity to feel shame, they would feel it, but they don't. They just, they're shameless. It is the truth. Where is this? Oh my God, I hate these people. Where is... But they're all gonna laugh at us. They're all gonna laugh at us. Oh, here's another example of the corporate media normalizing Republicans, the traitors. Here's the same guy talking to that woman, the traitor that Trump took a picture with. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Where is it? Here it is.
Those were domestic terrorists inside our Capitol, and I'm going to prove it on my trial.
Who are the domestic terrorists?
Our Congress that's been stealing elections for a very long time. Our country's been under admiralty law since 1871.
What should the punishment for those members of Congress be?
See, there you go again, right? Somebody said something to this kook. Her name is Mickey Larson Olsen. She's Donald Trump's latest, the latest terrorist Donald Trump is palling around with. And she's like, our country's been under the rule of admiralty since 1872. Where are you getting this bullshit from? Since, what you get, is this what's going on Steve Bannon's podcast or something? Where they're like, the country's on the rule of admiralty. They dust off these obscure laws or something, whatever, rules that nobody fucking knows about. Nobody's operating under. We've been under the rules of admiralty since 1872. And that makes them sound very smart, doesn't it? And so informed. Oh, wow. Wow, gee, I didn't know that. We were under the rules of admiralty. Everybody, we got to stop what we're doing. We got to stop Socialist Security, Medicare. We just got to stop taxing people, taxing IRS. Everything's got to stop. Rules of admiralty were in effect this whole time. Now we can't have any regulations on corporations or everything's got to stop. Come on, guys. I had no idea, but the kook with the stupid red, white, and blue hair pointed it out, and guess you know what? She's right.
Our country's been under admiralty law since 1871.
What should the punishment?
Yeah, and the other thing about the corporate media is that, and this is the guy that we keep pointing to, because I can't remember his name, but anyway, he's the one that was interviewing the two dumb bitches earlier, and then he was the guy that went to Staten Island to interview the Trumpanzees, who you voting for, as if it's normal to vote for a fascist bunch of Republican traitors. And he's talking to this lady, and he just lets her spew. Our country's been under admiralty's laws since 1873, and he just no follow up. Why don't you wait? Say, what are you saying? What are you talking about, cuckoo? But he's interviewing her as if she's not a kook, which is a problem. And I got hair in my eyes.
For those
Wait, let's try again.
Under admiralty law since time. Our country's been under admiralty law since 1871.
What should the punishment for those members of Congress be?
Execution for being traitors. That's what our Constitution demands.
Unreal.
Our Constitution demands that traitors in our nation are executed. And that's what should happen to each and every person that hijacked the voice of we the people.
Is that something that you see actually happening?
Yes.
That's true.
Unreal. It's like, hey, let's just give this lady a spotlight. The one who's talking about executing members of Congress unless they help Trump complete his coup. I don't know, man. It's baffling to me how, and this is the problem, you know. And I talk about the corporate media a lot because, in my opinion, it is really part of the problem, a very big part of the problem. Why we're in this boat, and they continue to make it worse. But there's no, you know, they're not helping by giving these kooks a platform and not challenging them. Why are you interviewing this nut job? Why are you giving her why don't you turn to the camera and say, well, that was the stupidest woman I've ever interviewed, who is also a dangerous traitor. And he's interviewing her while she is a January 6th traitor. You know, she was part of the coup, and she's in court. That's why in the beginning, she's saying that I'm going to prove it in court. Well, you didn't. You went, what was her? Did she go to jail? Let me see. I think she didn't go to jail for a long time, but I keep forgetting her name. Her name is Mickey Larson Olsen. And she's very patriotic, as you could tell by her hair. Her red, white, and blue hair. As for actual patriotism, as for the substance of patriotism, that's beyond her. She was found guilty in of what? Guilty of what? she was sentenced to 180 days in jail. Whoopee doopy doopy. Well, anyway. But Donald Trump embraced her. She's the traitor, convicted traitor who wanted Mike Pence to be executed. Not just Mike Pence, but all members of Congress who didn't go along with the big lie. She likes, she likes fascist coups. As you can tell by her stupid hat and her red, white, and blue hair.
Those were domestic terrorists inside our Capitol, and I'm going to prove it on my trial.
You
Who are
did,
domestic terrorists?
but you didn't prove it. Just like the rest of the coup plotters, like not Mike Pence, the My Pillow guy, had to pay up $5 million. He had to pay up because he said that he would pay anybody who could prove that he was a stupid liar or whatever, or that his so-called evidence was false, and he was proven to be false. So he had to pay. But he didn't want to pay. That's the way that Republicans are. He was trying to get out of paying because they're a bunch of grifters, and they figure that they just say shit and there'll be no accountability. So, and there usually isn't for them. Accountability for me, not for thee. Or for thee, not for me, I mean. As far as Republicans are concerned. Let me see. It's unreal. It's legally and peacefully unreal. But I'm sick of it. Here, I'm trying to find, where is that? The rest of the fascists. The 14 character. That was a good one, where I was reading off of that. And now I'm trying to find it. And it's escaping. Oh, here we go. Corporate power is protected. There's only a few more left. Mutually beneficial business / government relationship. Well, I mean, look at the Trump administration. How much did he make as a president? They just came out with another number saying that Trump made like $200-something million as president. What a fucking dirtbag. And, of course, labor power is suppressed. You know how Republicans hate labor unions. They hate labor. They hate the people. Oh, but the middle class. That's what Trump said. He's going to protect the middle class. From what? From decent working conditions? Living wages? Retirement security? Days off? Health care. That's what he's going to do. Protect. And I'm sure you saw that garbage person, perjury trader Green, attacking the teachers union president, Randy Weingarten, saying that step parents or if you're not a real mother because you're just a step parent. But it's also because she's a homophobic bitch. Here's perjury trader Green.
Miss Weingarten, are you a medical doctor?
I am not.
Are you a mother?
I am a mother by marriage.
By marriage, I see.
And my wife is here with me, so I'm really glad that she's here. Sharon Klein.
Miss Weingarten, as not a medical doctor, not a biological mother, and really not a teacher either. So what you did is you advised the CDC.
Mr. Chairman, that's a
excuse me, this is my time. You need to admit that you're just a political activist, not a teacher, not a mother, and not a medical doctor.
Wow.
Lady's time is expired. I now recognize Mr. Jordan from Ohio for 5 minutes.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make note that the decorum of the attacks on the witness were unacceptable that the gentlelady from Georgia just did. And so it'd be nice if we didn't attack the witnesses, particularly and making a decision about whether or not she's a mother. You are a mother. Thank you for being a great parent. Thank you.
Your point of order is recognized, Mr. Garcia.
A point of
now
order.
Recognize Mr.
Point of order. Given that his point of order is recognized, and given that that was not just cruel personal attacks to Ms. Weingarten, who loves her children, it is reflective of the cruel personal attacks to any adopted mother or father who love their children.
Yep.
So I would kindly ask that those remarks be taken out of the record for the sake of all of the parents who have adopted a child and love them dearly and see them as their own.
It was not a violation of the House rules. However, your point of order is recognized. I now recognize Mr.
Oof. Thank God they cut it off before they got to Jim Jordan and his ugly yellow tie. And does he go into the rain? Is he, wearing his suits? Is that how he irons his suits or something? He always looks like Death of a Salesman to me. Anyway, she's a vile garbage person. You're not a real mother? Well, keep this up, Republicans, really, because you really are showing the world who you are. And the fact is, there are more of normal people than there are of the disgusting garbage people. So keep it up. And the other thing is, though, I just have to point out, because they are such garbage people, and I gotta wonder yet again why they're treated so, I don't know, normally by media, by the corporate media. Why are you talking to these people as if their choice in elevating these garbage people to positions of power is somehow normal and just a regular thing somebody might do? They're the ones who gave perjury traitor Green power. And when it comes around again, when the House is up in play and they'll go to perjury traitor Green's district and they'll ask voters, because that's all the news media is now. It's just a bunch of polls and going to ask Trumpanzees what they're thinking and feeling at the moment, and not saying anything critical of them. Please don't ever make them feel like they're doing anything wrong. But that's what they'll do. The corporate media will go into perjury traitor Green's district and they'll say, well, what do you think? What do you think of her? Are you going to vote for her again? I think she's fabulous. She really is doing a great job telling step-parents that they're shit. I love that part about her. She really is sticking it to all of the targeted minority groups that I also hate. Wow, that is supposedly the music. I don't know. The show. If you can become a patron, please do. Help. We will win. Maybe I'll get the show working one day. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. Tell your friends about it. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you soon. Mamma mia. I'm so depressed right now about the show. You know? I really am. It just upsets me. After all that work, you know? That prep, that blah, blah, blah. So let me see. Where was I? I hope John Perkins does not look this show up until I fix it. That's all. Okay. So I just want to show you, you know, remember when, I don't know, because when I saw that ad and Trump, you know, of Trump saying they all laugh at us. And I looked up, well, the incidences of the world laughing at us. Remember? Oh, I already played this. Ivanka. Remember how embarrassing that was?
Yes, but this is about social justice. And if
It's
you,
all,
Yeah.
As soon as you start talking about the economic aspect of it, though, a lot of people start listening.
Yeah.
Otherwise listen.
Yeah, me too. I too.
In terms of the whole sort of
Fucking, who the fuck? And everybody's like, what are you saying? You're here? What is this Nat over here? Yeah. I'm here too, everybody. So embarrassing. No, they're all gonna laugh at us. It's like Carrie's mom or something. They're all gonna laugh at us. All right. I guess just for shits and giggles, I wanted to. Where is this? I'm not sure if you realize this, that we're in trouble. But you know, it's not just talking about the Supreme Court. Oh, did I finish the 14 characteristics? No, I did not. Let me finish that. And then we're going to stop the show. But I don't know. I'm in a pissy mood. And I have a lot of work to do now. I'm never getting to sleep tonight. Fixing this fucking show. Oh, yes. So the last couple of characteristics. Labor power suppressed. Disrespect for intellectuals and the arts. I mean, any of this ring true to you guys? Open hostility to higher education. That's the Republican way. Professors and other academics are censored or even arrested. What's going on in Florida now? Let's see. DeSantis. What did I just see? Yes, Florida legislation threatens gender studies classes and intersectionality. What does it mean? The National Women's Studies Association called the Florida legislation an effort to limit professors' and students' academic freedoms. DeSantis calls it woke ideology. You know who else bans gender studies classes? Viktor Orban. Gender studies. That's, you know, part of the... I guess they have no gender studies classes in Afghanistan either. Or Pakistan. Anywhere where women are treated like shit. Any fascist shit show. I bet you Putin doesn't have any gender studies classes. I would bet your bottom dollar. And, yeah, what I say, gender studies classes are the hallmark of civilization and freedom. You would want to be able to have time to study, you know, to contemplate life. That's the point of freedom, isn't it? That's the point of why so many fought, bled, and died, and overthrew the intergenerational aristocracy. So we didn't have to live and die and spend our lives in the field awaiting our rewards in heaven. We could have a decent life. We can have some leisure time, and then we can also think about what it means to be a human being. What are systems of our communities? Where do these come from? Let's think about this. Let's talk about this. What is the point of being a human being with the self-awareness? Except Republicans, that's threatening to them. They don't want that because people will not vote for them. They need dullards who are trapped in their strict hierarchies, because that's what it's about. They need these hierarchies to keep everybody in their place. But that hierarchy is what ruled Western civilization for thousands of years. What the Age of Enlightenment busted out of. And very radical thinking. Got many of the Enlightenment philosophers were sent to prison. They were exiled. They were fled for their lives. Because that's radical. But that's what the Republicans want to take us back to. Don't think about things. Just shut your mouth and do what you're told. And die in the fields and go to church for your whatever. And when you're dead, you'll get a mansion in heaven and whatever. Right now, we got the mansions. We got all the mansions covered here on Earth for us. For the ones that supposedly are, the big daddies that are saving you from the trans people. Those less than 1% people who want to make women men and men women and go to the wrong bathroom. God. These people are so sick. But worse than that, they're making everybody sick. So number 12 is obsession with crime and punishment. Local police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. People are often willing to overlook police abuses in the name of patriotism. Often a national police force with virtually unlimited power. And what is DeSantis doing right now? He wants to create, I don't know if he's what stage his police force is in, but that's what he wants. His own police force, like his own Praetorian Guard. His own brown shirts. Well, that's the Proud Boys, they were Trump's brown shirts. But DeSantis wants his own brown shirts, who don't answer to laws. All right, rampant cronyism and corruption. That's the number 13. Friends and associates appoint each other to government positions. Hello. That's the entire Trump administration. Officials use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. Hello. And that's why Trump is losing his mind. And what do you think the Jim Jordan's trip to New York was about? Officials use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. They're doing all they can to step in front of accountability for this fucking traitor, Trump. Traitor Trump. And trust me, I hope I'm an old lady and I get to see it. But he will be considered widely, and not just by the normal people. It will be like common knowledge at one time, and in the future, not too distant future, but it will be common knowledge and widely, just universally accepted that Trump is a traitor. He will go down in history as a traitor. Mark my words. And those who supported Trump will only speak of it in shamed whispers. You can mark those words. The last, number 14, elections are often a complete sham. Now, Republicans would say, well, that's the Biden election. He stole the election. Bullshit. Republicans are turning this on its head because they're spreading that elections are a sham because they quite don't control it yet. But the 14 characteristics of fascism is really the 14 characteristics of the Republican Party. So elections are a complete sham often. Elections may be manipulated by smear campaigns. They think that they read this as an instruction manual. Manipulation of the media to control elections. That's Fox News, OAN, Newsmax, all of the right-wing propaganda outlets talking about the stolen election, even though they knew they were lying. You're looking at the blueprint for fascism right here. And they're fascists. We're not quite there. Thank God. Thank not just God, the people, the patriotic, the actual patriots of the United States who got off their asses and voted these Republicans out of whatever, their supposed majority, got rid of Trump. Too bad we didn't get the House. Unfortunately. Hopefully we will turn it around. Otherwise it's over. They cannot have power. We need to get power and fix this shit. So the Republicans, are smashed legally and peacefully into history's trash pile where they belong, where they can't do damage. Jesus. Well, and here's the last in the fraudulent elections. Occasional assassination of opposition candidates. What? Hang Mike Pence, anyone? Yeah, he's not an opposition candidate. He was standing in the way of the coup, wasn't he? He was part of their plan to overthrow the government. That's why Trump was on the phone with him. You're a wimp. I shouldn't have picked you. He was saying to him. He was screaming at him on January 6th to overthrow, to take the ceremonial role that he had to count the Electoral College votes and use it illegally, unconstitutionally, to throw this to the election that was already decided by the people, but to throw it back to the states. And they're all a bunch of traitors. Ted Cruz is a traitor. We have it on tape. Lindsey Graham is a traitor. We have it on tape. Trump is a traitor. We have it on tape. And Trump is a disgusting, horrible person, as we know. And I don't know why any Republican is really, wants to elevate him. There were so many opportunities to get rid of him legally and peacefully, right? They could have joined with the first impeachment and gotten rid of him, or the second one, or the third. I mean, or the second one, or not the third. Was there a third? No. What am I saying? They could have. There were just so many opportunities. Not the third impeachment, but just the coup in general. They could have turned their whole party against him. All they had to do was stay unified. And they could have saved this country. They would have gotten, still be horrible people, but they would have gone down in history as, not a bunch of traitors. But now not only are they a bunch of traitors, they're laughable. They all debase themselves. Like Lindsey Graham, let me say, hold on. Trump is attacking Lindsey Graham as a progressive now. It doesn't matter that Lindsey goes on TV and begs and cries like he's Jim and Tammy Faye Baker rolled into one. Begging for money. Send the guy some money. Send him some money. They're trying to bankrupt him. I thought he was a billionaire. They're trying to bleed him. This is crap. Crap. Help him. Help him, Lord. Help him, Jesus. Jesus, Donald, Jesus, Trump.
How do you do it? You take if you got a pile of crap and you chop it up 34
It's
times,
crap.
it's still a pile of crap.
Yes.
It's duplicious charging. They're trying to smear the guy.
The
They're
guy.
trying to take cases that
poor
nobody
guy.
else would take and resurrect them.
What a
this
guy.
is literally legal voodoo.
What a good guy. Voodoo. Like voodoo economics. They're trying to smear him. They're trying to make him have some accountability for, being a liar when he paid off a porn star. They're trying to, have some accountability for lying on his books, for using campaign funds, and then recording it fraudulently in his tax records. They're trying to give him they're trying to bankrupt the guy because he's a billionaire, but he's gonna be bankrupt because of all these lawyers. They've charged like $1 billion an hour, the lawyers. So send him $1. He needs $1. He needs all your dollars.
This case will fall like a cheap suit under legal scrutiny. To the conservatives out there, make sure you vote DonaldJTrump.com. Give the man some money so he can fight.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lindsey Graham. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So he can fight. He won't be able to fight.
This case will fall like a cheap suit under legal so he can fight.
He can fight.
Thank you, Lindsey Graham. We really
How do you do it? You take if you got a pile of crap and you chop it up 34 times, it's still a pile of crap.
It's still crap.
It's duplicious charging. DonaldJTrump.com. Go tonight. Give the president some money to fight this bullshit.
He's not the president.
This is going to destroy America.
Bullshit.
We're going to fight back at the ballot box. We're
yeah,
not
sure
give
you are.
in. How does this end, Sean? Trump wins in court, and he wins the
Sure,
election.
sure
That's how
he
this
will.
ends.
Yeah.
How do you get to 34 counts on this, in your view?
How do you do it?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, if you got a pile of crap and you chop it up 34 times, it's
It's
still
a pile of crap.
Steroids. To those who are listening tonight, if you believe Donald Trump is being treated poorly and wrongly, stand up and help the man. Pray for our country. Pray for him. Go to
Shut up. Oh, my
DonaldJTrump.com
God.
and give money so he can defend themselves. This
He
is a
doesn't have
moment in
any
American
money.
history.
He's just like, he's so poor. He's the poorest of the poor. He's got no money. He's like Jesus. He followed the words of Jesus. He said, give me all your money and follow Jesus. And then he followed Jesus. He gave all his money and followed Jesus, and now they're coming to get him. They're coming to get the pile of crap with the crap. They're saying to give him $1, though. He needs $1. Does anybody got $1 for the president, who's not the president? He was barely the president when he was the president because he received fewer votes, fewer times. He's got fewer votes, just like he's got fewer dollars. He needs a lot of dollars. Give me $1. Do you got $1? It's a pile of crap. I'm a tough guy. I like cursing every now and then. I'll be on TV and I'll say the word bullshit or shit. I'll say shit. I'm a toughie. I saw my niche of being a toughie, even though they call me Lady Graham. The male prostitutes of Washington, D.C. have a code name for me. It's Lady Graham. I'm not a lady. I'm a tough guy. I'm telling you all, I'm no longer a lady. I am a bitch. I'm Trump's bitch, and I'm proud. Like to cry? I don't care. Grown men cry when they're talking about a con man who received fewer votes, who needs $1. Grown men cry. I'm tough. I'm a Republican. I'm not tired of doing it all for Trump. Don't worry. Trump he's treating me like his bitch, and I like it. You should see the way my male prostitutes treat me. Well, I'm sure when he's, being serviced, he's probably one of these people that wants to be like treated like shit. He wants to be beaten because he hates himself. He wants to have them defecate on him. I mean, that's what you're. I don't know, but there's something wrong with that, in my opinion. Don't do that to me, please. Don't ever try.
This is the most irresponsible and dangerous decision by a prosecutor in the history of the country.
In the whole
He's
history.
opened up Pandora's box against...
It's like the history of, we're under the Admiralty rules of 1973 or something. And it's just ridiculous. It's like all bullshit. I'm a tough guy.
The presidency itself. Hunter Biden and Joe Biden could be prosecuted under this theory if they were on vacation in South Carolina and made a call to China. This is a danger.
What? This is a dangerous bunch of bullshit I'm pulling out of my ass. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden. I just had to say those words because, things are flying a mile a minute and everybody knows that Trump is a con man except, the dumbasses that keep giving him dollars and dollars and dollars. And if I talk about it enough, they'll put some dollars in my pocket too.
The presidency, this is turning the rule of law upside down to destroy a man, Donald J. Trump, who the left fears.
Destroy a man, Donald J. Trump. We gotta say the J. The J is for Jesus. But they say the J is for jackass or jackal or jerk. But it is for Jesus. There is no coincidences that they're both called J. J for Jesus, J for jerk off. Jackal.
Do not let them get away with this.
Don't let them.
Vote. Show up at the ballot box.
Yes, vote. And give me $1.
DonaldJTrump.com. Give the man some money so he can fight.
Because he's a billionaire. He needs some money because Rudy Giuliani, you got to see his billable hours. He hasn't been paid since 1973, but he is putting in a lot of hours, and we need dollars. You got $1? You got $5? Yeah, I need an Uber.
Thank you, Lindsey Graham. We really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Look at your watery eyes, Lindsey. You're not too big to cry. Your arm's too short to cry about Donald J. Trump and God. Oh, my God. Yeah, DonaldJTrump.com. Put some money in the man's pocket, because that if he don't got money, he's like, it's like that's his missing secret ingredient that's not secret. There's just money. And it's dollars. Here's Lindsey Graham on another show. Well, this is him being a tough guy. I just found this clip of him. This was like years ago.
If people say this is like two-faced, where is the Lindsey Graham of standing up to Donald Trump? What do you say?
Well, I'll tell him when I think he's wrong, but let me just tell you about the critics. When I worked with President Obama, and I did on occasion, I was a hero. Now, when I work with President Trump, I'm two-faced. I know how the game's played, and I don't give a damn. I'm going to do what's best for the country. I like the president. I want to help him. I hope he's successful. He's been a friend to me, and he says some things I don't agree with. So if you don't like me working with President Trump to make the world a better place, I don't give a shit.
And there you have it, Senator Lindsey Graham.
I don't give a shit. There's your upstanding, Bible-thumping Republicans. What about the children that were watching CNN and heard Senator Lindsey Graham? I don't give a shit. Really? What about the standards and practices of the FCC? Oh, well, rules for thee, not for me. I don't give a shit. I'm Lindsey goddamn Graham, and I'm trying to be manly while I'm taking it from Donald Trump. While Donald Trump is riding me like a borrowed mule, banging me like a broken screen door. Ugh. Trump rally crowd boos at the mention of Lindsey Graham. Former fucking con man, well, not former con man, present and forever con man, former so-called president, despite receiving fewer votes, Trump described Lindsey Graham as a progressive from South Carolina. Now, this was today, because, he didn't suck him off enough and beg enough for him and debase himself enough. Drawing boos from the crowd. No, they weren't booing at Trump. They were booing at Lindsey. Lindsey Graham, the progressive from South Carolina, Trump told the crowd, while talking about trade involving India, China, and Europe. The crowd booed at the mention of the senator's name. How you feeling, Lindsey? You've debased yourself enough? No, he's a progressive, but he's got some good things too, okay? Trump said. Graham, one of the asshole's staunchest supporters, has been among some of his first Senate Republicans to endorse him for his fake run for president, because he wants to be redeemed in the eyes of the world's dictators, especially Putin, who he's embarrassed that he wasn't able to steal the election, and he's trying to make it up to Putin. And as soon as, if he is successful, he will allow Putin to walk all over Ukraine and destroy democracy, pesky democracy in that region for good. It's not the first time Trump has labeled Graham a progressive. Please. During a fundraising dinner in Florida, Trump called him our progressive senator from South Carolina. The former asshole took aim at New Jersey Governor Christie for he's got a big mouth. That's all he's got. So, yeah, I don't know why did he go after Lindsey Graham? He probably didn't sufficiently suck him in Macy's window as ferociously as he usually does. All right, that's enough. It's almost midnight. I got so much work to do, and I'm pissed off. All right, my friends. I want to thank Jim for the super chat, even though everything was a shit show tonight. And thank you, Barry, for your super chat, even though everything was a shit show. And Pookie's Mommy, thank you for telling me you can't hear John, and for your super chat. And thank you, Stephanie, for the contribution to a sound engineer, hopefully one of these days. God help me. All right, my friends, listen. You're the best. Thank you, everybody, for putting up with the show and me, and I don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to get shit working. I'll be able to fix John's interview so I can not completely embarrass myself even further. And yeah, we'll have next show we'll let the cats out of the room. There's Francis. Francis is here. Francis. Are you okay, honey? There's Francis. I woke him up. All right, my friends. Thank you, my friends. All right, my friends. Thank you, my friends. We will win. We are on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you very soon.